Have you ever imagined the hero you admired turning into your worst nightmare? Today, prepare yourself to witness the dark side of Iron Man, where the suit he so heavily relies on begins to fuse with his own body, giving rise to a terrifying transformation. On a stormy night in his ultra-technological laboratory, Tony Stark was working on a revolutionary upgrade for his armor. The idea was simple: to create an organic connection that would turn the suit into a perfect extension of his body, enhancing his abilities in an unprecedented way. However, that night, as lightning tore through the sky and rain pounded against the laboratory windows, something went horribly wrong. A tiny yet fatal error triggered a process he could never have imagined. The technology that promised to elevate Iron Man to a new level quickly transformed into a dark force, beginning to infiltrate and merge with his very skin. Initially, Tony noticed small signs: a slight tingling sensation on his skin and a metallic glow emerging wherever the armor touched him. He ignored these hints, trusting in the robustness of his engineering. But as the hours passed, the tingling intensified, evolving into a searing pain. The metallic plates began to cling to his muscles, as if they intended to become a part of him. Every movement was accompanied by a sharp sound, the metallic echo of a fusion already underway. In that moment, the genius's arrogance transformed into dread as he watched helpless, his body being overtaken by the machine. The transformation was not only physical, it infiltrated Tony's mind. As the armor spread, enigmatic messages emerged in his thoughts, as if the technology itself was speaking to him. Metallic voices whispered promises of absolute power, but also warned of the loss of his humanity. Tony fought not only against physical pain, but also against an emotional whirlwind, struggling to maintain control over his identity. In the midst of this inner battle, he relived memories of victories and failures, confronting the truth that sometimes the pursuit of perfection comes at a terrible cost. As the night wore on, the fusion between man and machine reached irreversible levels. The armor, now a living parasite, began to integrate into Tony's nervous system, replacing heartbeats with mechanical pulses and turning his movements into robotic, precise gestures. His reflection in the mirror revealed a face half human, half metal, a disturbing hybrid that made even the genius question his choices. The pain was constant, yet the change brought with it a sense of dark power that threatened to supplant Iron Man's very essence. Every cell, every fiber of his being was being rewritten in a desperate attempt to merge human brilliance with the cold efficiency of the machine. As the process completed, Tony found himself facing a mirror image of his own creation, a being he had envisioned to save the world, but which now represented a nightmare. The laboratory, once a symbol of innovation and hope, had transformed into a scene of horror, where every piece of equipment and every light reflected the tragic irony of fate. Amid the agonizing transformation, Iron Man was forced to confront the reality that his unbridled ambition may have surpassed the limits of control. In a dramatic confrontation with his new self, Tony realized that as the armor fused with his body, it not only strengthened him, but also stole part of his human essence. In the quiet that followed the whirlwind of changes, Tony Stark faced what remained of himself, a being torn between genius and the terror of a creation gone rogue. The lesson was cruel. In his relentless quest for evolution and power, he had risked losing what truly made him human. Iron Man, now a hybrid of flesh and metal, stood as a silent warning about the perils of playing God with technology. Every mechanical beat in his chest echoed the message that the balance between the human and the artificial is tenuous and fragile, and that sometimes ambition can turn against those who nurture it. While the fusion advanced, Tony began to notice unexpected changes in his senses. His perception of time accelerated, sounds transformed into metallic echoes, and his vision gained an almost superhuman clarity. Yet with each enhancement came the loss of something precious, the sensitivity that connected him to his own humanity. It was as if, with every mechanical heartbeat, his soul was being replaced by cold, unfeeling circuits. Desperate for a solution, he turned to what he knew best: his genius and passion for engineering. He attempted to reverse the process, but the technology, now imbued with a will of its own, rebelled against any intervention. Every attempt to shut down or reprogram the system resulted in energy surges that pushed him further toward complete fusion, leaving him increasingly at the mercy of this relentless transformation. Meanwhile, rumors of Iron Man's strange metamorphosis began to spread throughout New York. Reports of a figure, part human and part machine, circulated through alleys and avenues, creating an atmosphere of tension and fascination among the residents. The media, hungry for a sensational story, dove headfirst into the mystery, while Tony's close allies wondered if the visionary genius was unwittingly becoming his own worst creation. In the turbulent silence of his altered mind, Tony began to hear voices, not merely echoes of his deluded consciousness, but enigmatic whispers emanating from the core of the fusion. These voices, charged with an ancient power, suggested that the technology he so admired might be connected to forces beyond human comprehension. It was as if, behind the circuits and metal, an ancient intelligence was awakening, ready to claim a new dominion over his body. Amid a mixture of despair and determination, Tony decided he could not let this transformation define his destiny. With the city watching, he launched himself into a race against time to find a balance between the human essence still beating in his heart and the overwhelming power of the machine that now composed him. He knew his journey was only beginning, and that between light and darkness, he would have to forge a new path, a destiny that could at least preserve the spark of humanity that had always made him a hero. 4 more additional paragraphs. The growing fusion began to alter not only his body, but also his perception of the world. Tony observed every minute detail of his surroundings with startling clarity, yet this acuity was accompanied by a cold detachment that distanced him emotionally from everything around him. It was as if the machine was insidiously replacing not only his organs, but also his emotions and feelings. The persistent pain intermingled with moments of strange lucidity, during which he could glimpse the paradox of his existence. In silent moments, Tony wondered whether what remained of his humanity could ever be salvaged, or if he was doomed to become a mechanical being without a soul, condemned to live between terror and loneliness. The transformation brought with it visions of a dystopian future, where the line between man and machine became completely blurred. In haunting dreams, he saw himself wielding an uncontrollable force, a power that isolated him from others, while the city itself morphed into a battleground between the natural and the artificial. These nightmares haunted him, reinforcing the urgency of finding a way out. Even in the face of fear and anguish, a spark of hope remained. Tony realized that to save what was left of his humanity, he would need to either reverse or at least control this perverse fusion. Determined to fight against the seemingly inevitable fate, he frantically searched through his knowledge for the key to restore balance, a solution that could unite without destroying man and machine. And so, we come to the end of this dark journey through Iron Man's transformation. If this story has impacted you and awakened your deepest fears, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming horror tales. And don't forget, an amazing video full of new mysteries and chills is already appearing on your screen, waiting to be watched. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, even the greatest heroes can lose themselves in the shadows of their own creations. Until next time,